Good afternoon, everybody. It's me again, Greg from the Kalamazoo Nature Center, here with our third live creature feature. I'm just here to show you guys one of my favorite animals from the Nature Center. So if you have any questions, make sure you ask them below in the comments. I'll try to answer as many as I can in the video. But if they don't get answered in the video, just stay tuned and they'll hopefully get commented on with an answer below. So before we get started, like I said, we're going to talk about our red-tailed hawk today. So I want to just show you guys some of the equipment that we use for our birds of prey. This right here is one of the travel boxes that we use that keeps them nice and calm in the dark so that they can be transported from place to place. So right now we've got our male red-tailed hawk in here and he is ready to come out. But before we show that, we're just going to show a little bit more of our equipment here. So this glove I'll be wearing to protect myself from his talons, and that's going to attach to a leash which is already on him. So I've got a little clip here that will clip onto the glove side, and I've got a little claw here, you can see that, and that will go to something called his jess. So his jess is a piece of equipment that he wears all the time. So if you imagine this pen is one of our bird's legs, this little jess is a little anklet or a bracelet that they wear, and then we clip right into that. Kind of hard with one hand sometimes, and that is how you have a bird secured to your glove. So like I said, he's already got his leash and his jess is on, so let's go get him out. One more thing I'm going to do before I get him out is I'm going to turn my hat backwards, because birds of prey really like to be able to see your face. They don't like having it covered up by hats or glasses or hair or anything like that. So we're just going to make sure we're keeping him nice and comfortable. With that being said, let's get our friend out. There he is. Step up. Good boy. Great. You can see he steps right up onto the glove. We'll just get him secured right there. You can see the inside of his box. He's got a little perch that he stands on. And we'll close it up so it's not in my way. Oh, and there he goes. It is really hard to potty train a bird of prey. None of ours are potty trained. So we call this guy the king, we call him Big Red, we call him Old Man Red. He is the oldest resident we have here at the Nature Center. He came to us in I think about '96, and we believe he's about 29 years old. So he is retired. He does not do any programs off-site. He only programs on-site, which is really handy for a digital creature feature because he doesn't have to go anywhere. So he is partially flighted, which means he can fly a little bit, he can flap around. If you look at his wing that's closer to me, you'll see he kind of tucks it up to his body. So that's his injured wing. He has what's called a calcification on his elbow joint. And so he cannot fully extend that wing. He cannot soar or fly like he would in the wild. Okay, but he's still partially flighted, like I said, so he flits around his cage a little bit, and he can even bait off of the glove. And then he is probably one of our best birds at standing on the glove. You'll notice that he stepped right out of the cage without really me having to coax him too much. You can even get this bird to step up without his jesses on, without his equipment. So he's really, really good at this training. And that has to do with the fact that he's been doing this for a really long time. This bird is older than I am, and he's been here longer than I've been alive, I think. All right, so now we've got a quick moment for some questions. Do you have any questions?
One question we get a lot is, what do you feed them?
Oh, that's a really good question. So we feed our birds hamsters and rats, or for the bigger birds. Our smaller birds, like we said in our other creature feature, they eat pinkies and little white mice. But these guys get rats and hamsters. Good question.
Why is he living at the KNC?
So he lives with us because he was struck by a vehicle, and so when they found him, he was injured and he was actually partially starved. But now he lives here, and he's lived here for over 20 years, and he loves it. He's got a nice big enclosure that he stays in.
And how can you tell their age?
So red-tailed hawks are really cool in the sense that they have a couple of features that actually, unlike most birds, will happen over time as they go into adulthood. So a full-fledged adult red-tailed hawk will have that nice red head, and then their eyes will be a really dark brown. So a juvenile one will have a much lighter coloring on their body, and then their eyes are actually almost like a golden brown or like a light yellow. Good question. All right, so let's move on to some facts about his species, okay? So red-tailed hawks, like we said, have this nice, pretty red brick color on their top of their head and their back. Here, we'll turn his back so you guys can see, and you can see his red tail where he gets his name. And then they have this kind of pale underside that helps keep them camouflaged from below, from those animals that are on the ground that they're hunting. They generally are about 1.5 feet tall, 17 or so inches. And then they can weigh anywhere from 1.5 pounds to almost 3 pounds. And the males are usually on the smaller side, with our females being a bit bigger. So I think that he weighs almost 2 pounds, and I think our females are about 2.5 right now. Their average lifespan in the wild is only about 7 years, and then in captivity they can live up to about 30 years. I think that the oldest one in captivity was either 31 or 32. So if this guy hangs out for a couple more years, he could be a world record holder. So they reach maturity at about 2 years old, and they mate for life. They usually mate from February to March, but they can start as early as January, and they usually have about 2 eggs per clutch, is what they're called in that little group. Their diet mostly consists of small mammals, squirrels, chipmunks, rabbits. They eat some reptiles like snakes, they eat frogs, and then they've even been known to eat insects and roadkill. And then they live in really big open areas like prairies and plains. They really like to hang out at the edge of woodlands where they have lots of open space that they can survey. You'll often see them on telephone poles and on billboards and stuff. And these guys are super common all the way across continental America. They are as far north as Alaska, and then they are as far south as, I believe, Venezuela. So these guys are really common all over this continent. Any questions?
Does he live alone?
So he actually lives with another red-tailed hawk. It's really funny because they kind of treat each other like an old married couple, where he's always, they're always turning their back on each other or bickering, or you're always right. It's really funny to watch. Once we are open back up, I encourage everybody to come out and watch our red-tailed hawks because they are very entertaining. But no, he does not live alone.
What's their average wingspan?
So fully extended, I think that they can get to an average of about 4 feet wide for their wingspan. So pretty big, a lot bigger than most people are expecting.
Can he fly?
So he's partially flighted. He cannot soar like red-tailed hawks usually do. So when you see them, most commonly, you'll see them making really big circles in the sky with their wings kind of locked open. Because of that calcification on his elbow, he cannot lock his wings open like that anymore. He cannot soar. So he can only flap around and kind of hop from perch to perch.
Some people want to know, will they ever attack my cat or dog in the wild?
No, that is not very common at all. They'd have to be very, very, very hungry or very, very, very angry to do something like that. It's not very common for them to attack something that they're going to have to put a lot of effort into eating. They usually want to eat something that's going to put up as little of a fight as they can, like a chipmunk or a squirrel or something really small. They even eat other birds sometimes. All right, so I'm just going to show him off a little bit more, and then we'll put him away, and we're going to talk a little bit about human impact and some of the kind of things that go along with that. So I just want to get a nice little close-up of him. You can see his colors. Another really cool trick they have is they have a gyroscopic stability in their head. So if you see he focuses on something, and I move his body, his head stays locked on whatever he's looking at. And so that helps him if he's flying and the wind is blowing him around, or if he's up high and he's trying to track something, that helps him stay nice and stable so he does not have to move his head. And also looks like he's doing a really funny dance sometimes. All right, so we'll put him back in his little box, and you guys can see how good he is at going back in there. Like I said, he's our best trained bird. Ready? Step back. Good one, buddy. All right. All right. So the biggest human impact on them is usually people being too close to their nests, whether that is them being accidentally struck by a vehicle. Sometimes they can even accidentally be shot by hunters. And then sometimes they can even accidentally get poisoned if somebody's hunting one of their prey animals and they're using lead shot and they eat that animal with that lead inside. It can pass into the bird. So they are protected by the U.S. Migratory Bird Act. It is illegal to own them or own their feathers or any part of their body, really. But there is some human action that actually benefits them. So we do sustainable forest thinning, can help create hunting grounds for them, as well as the construction of the interstate actually creates really big stretches of hunting space for them because they need those big open areas so they can see with their really powerful eyes. So not all our human impact on these creatures is bad. Sometimes we do things that benefit them. So thank you guys for tuning in. Please ask any more questions that you have, and we'll comment on them and get them answered. Tune in next week to see our other creature feature. I believe we're going to meet Carmen and Junie, our Virginia possums, and be sure to join Nature Now. It's our new Facebook page that we're hoping to connect our audience a little bit more with nature, and there's a link there that you're able to donate if you want to support any of these animals with food and training. So thank you guys for tuning in, and I can't wait to see you guys next week.